formally say hello to you and to welcome you to Barbados.
Thank you.
I understand it is your first visit with us.
So, technically it's not. It's my first business visit. Okay. How about that?
Oh, wonderful.
We have been in Barbados, family-wise, 5 or 6 times. We've enjoyed the island so much, we keep coming back.
So then you are officially a Bajan.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Okay,
love it.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well,
fix that.
I think Sandy has.
Well, once I get a visit elsewhere, Sandy, then we can have a conversation.
Okay, so from talking to Sandy, as you know, we have gone back several years, and I know the name Fujitsu,
yes,
but I don't know what Fujitsu does.
Okay.
So we can start from there.
Sure.
Could you tell us a little bit about Fujitsu?
Sure.
And your operations in Barbados, in Jamaica, and I assume in Japan as well.
Yes, yeah, okay. And in Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, wonderful.
Let me start globally.
Okay.
Fujitsu is a Japanese company, Japanese headquartered company. Over $30 billion US is the size of the company. We are #1 in IT services in Japan. Okay. So the core and the root of our company is technology.
Yes.
And how do we drive technology forward? So if you think about our global purpose, it's about taking technology for better lives of citizens and organizations out there and to drive sustainability in the world. And so that's what Fujitsu stands for today.
Okay.
When we come to the Americas, which is my role, I'm based out of Toronto, Canada. I'm Canadian, but I spend significant amount of time in the US just given the size of the market. And I've had the opportunity this week to go visit our Trinidad office and today here in Barbados, and one day Sandy will invite me to Jamaica as well, right? But on that, when we think locally, what we're trying to do is to take that global purpose, and as we meet with customers and prospects, and we just came from the next building over the Japanese ambassador.
Yes.
And the statement that we're trying to make in the market is, we implement technologies for many companies, but we now want to change that game. And so what Fujitsu stands for is actually sitting with companies, looking at their digital agenda, looking at where they want to take their organization or that government department over the next few years, and what are their challenges. Okay. And so we're here to figure out how we can help them solve those challenges. Is it to move to paperless? Is it to automate something? Is it to digitalize something? So to kind of take our strengths and help them solve their problems. I hope that helps.
Yes, that helps tremendously. Okay, so you say that you are in the region, but I'd like to bring you to Barbados.
Yes.
And tell me what you have been doing before and what your plans are to make it even better.
No, good question. So in the past, we've been heavy focused on what I'd like to say traditional, but is still ongoing technology, right? So implementing solutions for customers, but I want to take that to the next level. If I come back to our purpose, it's not just about implementing an application or hosting some environments for a customer. It's now actually thinking about how can we make a difference as an organization, and that's what I want to add. And so if you think about what are the big challenges out there with respect to IT today, it's people are afraid of AI or not understanding what it is, which is a hot subject. Cybersecurity is #1 on CIO's lists. How can Fujitsu help with these problems? So taking kind of the current trends, the current technologies, helping them. I was sharing with someone the other day, because I travel so much, as soon as I land in an airport, I kind of look at the technology in use. I'm not gonna name the country, but I landed in one country recently, and to my shock, there was no technology used. I had to wait 45 minutes in line for customs and then wait in another line for immigration and so on. But you come here to Barbados, what's amazing is I can fill out the form on my mobile ahead of time. So you can skip the line. But even if you forgot to do that, there's terminals there that help you. That's huge advancement of technology. And so what I want us to be seen as and do more of in Barbados is help this country transform, right? I know the population is only about 250,000. I keep asking Mervyn, our head of Caribbean, how can these countries survive, right? If you think about all of the government entities, departments that you need to set up alone, right? When you think about transportation or healthcare or education and you go on, that's a huge cost of a government budget.
Of course.
How can we help reduce those costs, but also help the citizens of the country? And so that's really what we are driving as a team. And if you notice when I say that, I don't talk about technology at all.
Yes.
But technology is a key player in that solution.
Yes, it is.
Or bringing consulting and looking at business process change, right? So those are aspects as Fujitsu continues to transform. We want to transform these entities as well.
Wonderful. And that leads me to ask you, what are some of the challenges that you face coming into countries or going into businesses? What are your biggest challenges?
Yeah. Good question. And you know, I saw it, I see it here, I saw it in Trinidad, and I even see it in Canada and even the US. So it's not exclusive to just this island. But it is, number one is education. How many people know how to use technology to its fullest extent? It's shocking. I was in Davos last week at the World Economic Forum. As I was entering the village, there was this huge sign by a company there, and it said, "Did you know there's still over 25% of the global population that doesn't have internet access?" And my jaw just dropped, because it's something we take for advantage. You have your phone right there, right? So you're connected.
Yes.
We take that for, just like that. And so it sat there, and I started to think about it. And how do we change that, right? And so number one that I'm seeing, and you can go into a lot of government entities even today, there's a lot of folks that don't know how to use technology. Yes, they might have their computer and email, but that's it. So number one is education around technology, okay? And its use, even in difficult areas like AI right now. How do we educate on the pros and cons and the use? Number two, once you get through that, is change management. There's still huge resistance. So I asked that country that had a very manual customs and immigration process. I asked people in that country, and I even met with their digital government teams, and they laughed at me. They said, I'm going to quote that the head of Fujitsu Americas came to our country and they said this to kind of push the agenda, because they said, we have been pushing for the last few years to change that. And we are embarrassed and we're sorry you had to wait in line. And I said, no, that's fine. It's the process. But what they said was, there's so much resistance in that one department to change. And that's a problem, because I sat there and said, that's someone's first experience in the country, right? And if you want more people to come to your country and spend money and invest, you have to make it easier, right? And that's just one example of many.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that leads me on to talent. How do you source your talent that can provide the know-how, knowledge, in order to service the companies that you will eventually be able to operate in?
Yep, that's a very good point. There's multiple ways, right? One of them that we look at in some regions is through universities, right? And so folks that have either trained in IT services, business process, bringing them in and educating them on the fundamentals of what we're doing at Fujitsu. So they're already, if you take a 10-point scale, they might already be at 5 or 6 in their journey. You educate, you train them to get them to 8. They're out there, right? So that's one way. The other is through our recruitment teams, simple, right? They're out there in the market, they know what's out there, the talent, whether it's other IT companies, whether it's industry, posting. The third piece is really networks. It's amazing at how many people come in through network-related hires, right? So I think there's different ways that we tackle that. The market is tight. The IT skills market is tight. It's hard. It's hard to find talent that is experienced. What we're trying to do to reduce churn on the business, because every organization has turnover, what we've been trying to do over the last year, and we're going to continue, is to educate our team. So for example, we launched AI training months ago, and trying to really encourage people to take AI. It's not mandatory in every job, but I think it's important to understand what AI is, how do you use it, how do you train it. I'll be honest, I didn't know 6 months ago. I actually asked one of our experts, talk to me about ChatGPT. I've used it, I just honestly haven't had the time to sit down. He laughed at me, I was embarrassed. I said, yes, I'm leading our business, I'll admit it. We had it really good, and it's one of our employees, right? Oh, wow. He sat down patiently, 20 minutes, walked me through how to set up an account, use it, and then I'll tell you, was it 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I caught COVID again. I was sick in bed for 3 days. I finally said, I should do something about this. And I went on, logged into my account, and I said, I want to plan a trip for a family of 4 to Japan. Give me an itinerary. I was blown away. Something that would take me weeks to plan took 30 seconds. And I looked at the itinerary, and because I'm in Japan every quarter, I was like, yes, 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 I'll do all of this. Makes total sense. Maybe I would have made one little tweak, but it was perfect. Wow. Then I've asked our HR team, give me a wellness strategy for our employees. You know, I'm worried coming out of COVID, a lot of people are still struggling. Yes. And talent is number one for us, our people. So I did a search to look at companies similar to us in terms of what are their wellness plans. I was blown away. I think we got the whole strategy done in 3 minutes. It's wild. Now, the alternative is I can go out, hire a consultant, I can do this, I can do this. But I'm blown away at the strategy, and now I'm like, there's 12 steps we have to do. My goodness, we have a lot of work to do, right? And then I've asked HR to give some feedback and thoughts as well. But it's not taking something away, it's moving at the pace the world is moving at today. And it's wild, right? And so learning about that, we're trying to encourage our employees to learn the skill sets and adapt. Because if they have that, whether I hope they choose to stay with Fujitsu, they can grow. And if they don't, they take something away from them. I kind of told them if I have to move on one day, the next CEO, would you hire someone who knows AI or who doesn't know AI? And you're looking at those two profiles. I think you know the answer. Okay. Right?
Of course. Well, I'll just tell you that you're not alone. I don't know anything about AI.
Okay, I'll give you a course.
I heard it. I know nothing of ChatGPT.
Yeah, there you go.
Nothing. So we were in the same boat.
Okay.
We were ahead of me at this point in time.
I had my secret advisor to technology talk to me, so I'll hook you up with him.
Please do. You spoke about coming into the airport, and they didn't have the technology, but you've come to Barbados, and the technology is here. Now, we tend to think that we are way behind. So let me ask you, what are the things that you see that we need to improve to make us even better? You know, we're coming into this area where we have online banking, and you may have listened to the news today. They're paying pensions, and some people didn't get theirs because they use the postman who delivers the check. And now that postman would have cashed the check for an elderly person, but they can't do it now. It has to be deposited on an account. The person has to have their online banking app. And we know how resistant not only elderly people, but people are to this. They feel that you can take their money, you have access. So what are the things that you see we need to improve here in Barbados, even though we are on a good trajectory?
Yeah, I think these are all very good questions and tough ones, right? Yes. Don't want to offend anyone. You know, I look at experiences. So can there be more seamless check-in at hotels as an example versus going through all the paperwork. It happens today when I check into a hotel in the US, I can go onto my phone, check in, I get my room number and my key right on my phone. You don't even stop at the front desk.
Okay.
But yet, I look at the lineup and the manual effort and the pain that even the folks behind the desk go through. It's painful on both sides. So I think that there's a lot of processes like that. Online banking. I've heard a lot of stories in the Caribbean of new banks starting up and things not working out well. So how does regulation help but not hinder?
Yes.
So if a new bank is going to set up, where's the security around that bank, right? Where's the process and the procedures? That is losing trust of people. And so what needs to happen is actually building that trust. And I'm not saying we should only bank with the top banks. I'm not saying that, but those new banks, are they secure, right? Because the technology's out there, but it's building trust. It's building education. So to my points earlier on, right? I know when I receive a check, I roll my eyes first of all, right? But then I calm down because my bank, and there's a lot of Canadian banks here, so I bank with RBC as an example. They have a function online where you can take a picture of the front and the back of the check and it's deposited.
Yes.
But I trust my bank, so I can do that. And so where's that level of trust? I think that's the key, right? In the meantime, the financial services industry has been going through a transformation over the years, even before COVID. They chose to shut branches down to reduce cost, saying more and more online. But you cannot forget those that don't do online, right? Whether it's a senior, whether it's someone who's not technology enabled. You can't leave these people behind. And I think that's the challenge they face. And so they need to keep some branches open and serve them, right? I'm seeing even in Canada and the US, those branches that stay open, they'll only staff it with like 2 people. That's not good enough, right? We all know the banks make good profits, right? And I think they need to find a way to balance, right? And I think that's another area, right? Until that trust and that usage of technology is at a certain level. And until it's not there, I think it's their job too to participate in that.
Yes.
And please, I'm not blanketing all financial services institutions.
Not,
There's some that are absolutely fantastic, but there's some that ruin it for others. And I think their job, just like our job in technology, is to educate and help make that change to a level that is acceptable. And we're not there, unfortunately, is what I see.
In terms of young people, I know we spoke about university and sourcing, getting talent from there. Are there any initiatives for training for persons who have an interest but may not be at university? They may even have the know-how, the skills, but no formal training. Has Fujitsu thought of having a program, like an internship program, for those types of persons who may be able to fit in, but don't have the background that is needed?
That's a good comment. A couple things I kind of unpack from that, if I may. The first one is we've been working with our human resources over the past 2 years to, one, change the criteria. It's not that you always need a university degree, right? You could have a college degree, a trade degree. It doesn't matter nowadays. In the past, people used to be absolute sticklers. You need 5 years of experience. You need this university degree. That's changing in society. So we have been pushing our organization to change that. And you've kind of reminded me to follow up on where we are on that journey. But that's a good point. The second one is there's aspects of our business that do bring on students or bring on interns or whatnot. It's a small percentage today, right? It's something that we need to challenge ourselves better to do more of, right? But definitely there are those opportunities, but maybe not at the size and scale I would like today. So I think that's something we have to work on.
Okay, wonderful. And my final question to you is, what is your vision? As you said, you're head of the Americas?
Yes.
Right. What is your vision for Fujitsu? Being the new CEO, you're coming to the region for the first time as head. What is your vision?
Good point. If I go back to our global strategy about the purpose that we've laid out, thinking about sustainability, transformation, leveraging technology, really our plans are naturally for growth, right? We're a for-profit company, but what I want to do is to build us on a size and scale that's significant. Today, we are the smallest region of Fujitsu, okay? But Americas is the largest IT market in the world. How do we change that? And so we're on a path to significant growth. And I start with growth and the profit, and people might think, oh, that's strange. There's a reason for that. If we get to that scale, then it allows us the opportunity to take the next step in our purpose, which is give back more to the community, to society, to make a difference, a bigger difference, right? And so our objective is to grow to a scale that we can start to do that much more, right? And all in line with our purpose. So how can we work with governments on sustainability agendas, or look at manufacturers and say, are you using every single product and being sustainable? And so what we call closed loop planning and closed loop manufacturing is everything that they use to build that phone, as an example, in the factory, there's no waste, and they're taking all the excess products and pushing it back in the life cycle. That's powerful, right? For the economy, for sustainability, for everything. Those are the types of organizations people get passionate about working for them, right? And they're making a difference. And so that's the purpose. I want us to be very influential in making happen in the societies we work in, right? And that we're known for that, right? It's gonna take time, it's not easy, but that's our vision. And so in that, we have a brand called Fujitsu Uvance. Uvance is a word that we've made up of two words, universal advancement. Okay? Under that brand is what we are driving. And so what I would like in the Americas is Uvance to be a household name. It's a made up word, but that's what we're gonna live with, right? And so take Uvance, and so as people think about these challenges, they're like, oh, maybe Uvance can help us, right? And so that's Fujitsu's brand. We've looked at 7 key focus areas in that Fujitsu has strength on, but also where the market needs. So we have sustainable manufacturing, we have consumer experience. You talked about seniors and financial institutions. It's all about the experience. Consumer experience, trusted society, so heavy citizen services, government, the impact there, trust. And then healthy living. As we all live longer and longer in age, how do we live a healthy lifestyle in our 60s, 70s, 80s? So those are the 4 kind of vertical plays, all centered then using business applications, hybrid IT, and how you store your data, whether it's here in cloud, multi-cloud, whatever, and digital shifts. So digitalizing what we have. So those are the 7 key focus areas I want us to drive to hit our purpose.
Wonderful.
And then we've underlined that at the bottom layer, though it's our core, is technology. AI, high performance computing, data, security, and so on, right? But if you notice, I didn't talk a lot about technology today,
understood.
even though Fujitsu is known as a hardcore technology company back in the day. We've made that shift, and we're continuing to make that shift. if that helps.
Yes, that is an excellent answer. So I'm pleased to hear of the things that you have planned and your vision. And I wish you every success. I will remain in contact with Sandy for sure. I have some initiatives that I am about to send her for 2024.
Okay,
so
great.
Hearing what you've spoken about, I certainly will share them with her, and I am sure that we will come together and make a decision on how we can foster a good relationship.
Excellent.
Yes.
Very nice to meet you.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.